Hello and welcome to another inaugural season of Behind Enemy Lines. And I can think of no man better than to help me kick off this weekly show where we bring on a content creator. We bring on somebody that's covering their team like I cover our team to give us the in-depth scoop as to what's going on. We do this every week. And a guy's one of my favorite guests to have on the channel. I work with him every week over on NFC West Roundtable, and that's Jesse Naylor of Last Second Sports. Jesse, it's great to have you back in the house.
Man, I'm so excited to be here. I love these crossover shows. I've been doing the Behind Enemy Lines for a few years now. And I remember when I first had you on, it was like instant, man. We definitely were able to just talk ball and go back and forth. I was like, all right, Brandon's my Seahawks guy every year. And you do the same thing over on your channel. It's great. All love. There's a lot of crossover between the people that support both of us just because we are on Roundtable Sports together. So a lot of Seahawks fans support me on my channel. I'm sure I got a lot of guys over on your channel as well. So it's great. I absolutely love it. And week one, man, I'm not a big fan. I will say I'm not a big fan of in-division matchups week one. But dude, what a better way to start this one out. And you and I have a hat bet to boot on this one, which means if the Seahawks win, I'll be wearing a Seahawks hat next week. I'm not looking forward to that. However, they're not going to. My 49ers are going to win, and you are going to don red and gold, brother. Can't wait to see that one.
I was looking at one today that had little little ears on it, little fluffy ears and little hang downs. I was going through them today, just picking through the options like a kid in the candy store on that one. But indeed, we do have this hat bet on the line. So not just our team, not just the opening season. And I do feel like in a lot of ways, there's a time where you go into these first games of the year. You guys played the Bears a couple of years ago, rough environment, windy, rainy, but it was not then an indicator of what was going to happen the rest of the year for you guys. And I think that unlike that this year, with it being this week one matchup and looking at your guys' schedule on this, the first thing that stands out to me is that this carries much more weight than just a typical single game of a regular season game. Being we don't play until the far end of the season. You got an easy schedule to go through. In a lot of ways, I feel like it's more of like us getting the win is almost a little more important from your guys' perspective because you are walking and limping, but you guys have a get right kind of schedule you could still fix yourself on. But it still feels like for us, if we're looking to try to have hopes for this division and really be in the target signs of that at the end of the year, that this is one of those games you probably are going to have to take care of on your schedule. Would you see it the same way?
Yeah, well, the 49ers weren't good in division last year. And so to start off 0-1, listen, Brock Purdy's kind of owned the Seahawks. He's 5-1, although this is a new regime and he's only 1-1 versus this regime, and he's 1-2 versus McDonald coach defenses. So yeah, this game's very important. I mean, this is the 49ers have so much roster turnover. I think I want to say it was 35% roster turnover. I mean, that's pretty massive from one year to the next. Yes, they still have this stable of veterans that are there holding down the fort that know how to win, but you're trying to create a whole new culture here with that big of turnover, and starting off 0-1 in division is not ideal for anybody whatsoever. So, yeah, this is a huge game. Obviously, week one's never must win, but that's why I'm not a big fan of in division games, because it almost counts as two. It really does. It's one thing to lose a game if they were playing an AFC team. All right, no big deal. But now we're talking about tiebreakers all the way through being affected based off of a week one game when teams really aren't themselves yet. But this is also one of those situations where you've got the Seahawks that are trying to create a culture as well. And for them to beat the 49ers 2 out of 3 games with McDonald, I mean, that can kind of give them a swag that they're looking for. Plus, you've got the rivalry between Demo and Kenneth Walker. I mean, there's just so many fun things going on in this one. So, yeah, man, there's a lot. There's a lot riding on a week one game for sure.
It does feel like that too from our side of it. And you mentioned some of the fun inner battles there. Certainly, Lamore and Walker going at it head to head on theirs is fun. But you guys are also coming into it a little bit in not decimated, but the injury problem is a bit of a factor coming into this game. And I never like to have these be the lead aspect of it as we talk about the matchups and getting into that. But it is kind of a point of the story walking into this game for your team. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of where we stand with your Niner team as far as those injuries are concerned?
Yeah, the 49ers are actually relatively healthy outside the guys that we knew weren't going to be there, which is Malik Mustafa. We knew that he was going to start the season on IR basically, and Brandon Ayuk. But outside of that, Jennings is back. Sure, they lost some depth in the running back room, but they went and traded for Brian Robinson Jr., who's going to be the clear number 2 now. The Garendo's back. Pearsall's obviously there. He had missed some time. All 3 rookie defensive linemen missed some time throughout out the course of either the preseason or training camp, what have you. They're all back and healthy. The 49ers are relatively healthy outside of those 2, but that we always knew that. And then obviously we've got a suspension with the other receiver and Robinson himself. So there are some guys missing for sure. This is not a full team, but to me, they have enough.
Mm.
You've got the $50 million quarterback. You've got the offensive genius head coach. You've got the George Kittles, the Trent Williams, the CMCs, the Juszczyks, the Jennings, the Fred Warners, the Diamador Lenores, the Nick Bosas. I mean, this team is not void of talent. They still have it in spades. So there is enough to go out and win this game. To me, there's no excuses.
Yeah, I still do think, and it speaks to how strong the Niners have built themselves, that they are even at that. And it's not big injuries, just guys you're definitely counting on, I think, over the course of the season here or there. And they've done a good job of finding a way to reinforce the depth with some of those injuries, and getting Jennings back's big. Don't know what happened with that situation, but that was kind of an odd one as far as that whole holdout was concerned. You mentioned the defensive line, and we're going to get over to Robert Saleh and a little bit of his impact here on this defense. And you mentioned those 3 youngsters that had a little bit of injuries, but are all back now and rolling. You've got Mykel Williams, top 12 pick in the first round. You've got sorry, spacing out CJ West of Indiana that you took, and then Alfred Collins, big 3-tech nose tackle, defensive tackle. How has their progress been? And are the Niners not really leaning heavily on these guys to carry a lot of the weight this upcoming year?
Yeah, I think initially we thought Mykel Williams would be the lone starter for sure. I don't know that he's even going to start because he missed the whole preseason. He had a little bit of a nagging injury. So I don't know that any of these 3 guys are going to start truly, but they are going to play heavy in the rotation. And this is a game where we're going to need those guys, especially up the middle well, really all 3 of them, because Mykel Williams is a good run stopper as well. So, between him and West and Collins, those guys are going to have to play at least 50% of the snaps, I would imagine. The rotation of the defensive line is going to be super important. And those guys are going to play roles. And it is interesting because West also missed a big chunk of things with an injury himself. He and Mykel Williams had similar things where they like hyperextended their knees and then had to miss some time. It was nothing serious, but it was enough to keep them out. And we know that rookies need every snap in the preseason. They need every snap in training camp and OTAs. Everything matters because the NFL is not college football. I don't care how good of a college football player you are. This is a difference. And then you have to worry about, I know not necessarily in this game, but throughout the course of the season, the 49ers don't have a bye week till like week 13, week 14. That's a lot of football to play and try not to hit a rookie wall. So you've got the beginning of the season, which is a question mark because these guys haven't played throughout the course of the offseason the way that you would hope that they would. So you're going to have a ramp up period. And then it's like almost by the time that they're ramped up and ready to go, they're hitting the rookie wall before the bye week. So these guys have a lot of pressure on them. Robert Saleh certainly is going to have to rely on a lot of these guys. I do expect, though, that they can hold up against the run. That's really what they are brought in to do year one. Just do what you do well. If you can get after the quarterback and help there, that's fantastic. But if you can play 50% of the snaps and you can hold down in the run game, that's what we need from you.
Yeah, and you can see how with the depth around them, it's almost a bit of a necessity where it stands on this. It can't be a matter of that they're just not ready to go their rookie year. And we've had a couple defensive linemen come through here in recent years that drafted high that we'd hope would give us productivity, or Daryl Taylor types or LJ Collier types that you're just usually not ready to go. And it's in LJ's case, I believe it was. In both those 2 guys' case, you can go to certain injury concerns kind of leading into those first years as being a bit of an issue that was holding them back on that side of it. You got Saleh back, which got you happy, and a lot of Niner fans, because you guys did not seem happy with the other 2 DCs that you had floated through there the past 2 years, and it was getting progressively worse, seemingly, on that side of it. But you do get Saleh back, and it's interesting doing the research and looking at this guy because obviously at the Jets, how much am I really paying attention to that team and that guy and what he's doing there and how he's doing it. And we talked a little bit about this NFC West roundtable last night, so excuse me for kind of repeating a little bit of what we discussed there on there. But you've got a guy that we remember us having exact conversations about this, who was really, housed from the Carroll system, had a lot of the similar stuff Carroll would run from. It was just he had more of the wide nine versus Carroll's fronts and his over fronts, how he wanted to run his stuff. But on the back end, it would be similar to what Carroll would do. How is your confidence level now in his ability to kind of start to really rectify those things that, not that he's a really good coordinator, so he's not that. It's just that these were just worries for both of us that this is your scheme getting older. How are you going to adjust? How are you going to evolve? How are you going to adapt? Or do you not? Have you been assuaged of any concerns with that with Salah coming back and that he has done that?
Yeah, I really am. I watched quite a bit of Jets film from last year. Obviously, he wasn't there for long, but there were some tendencies, some things that he did, and it looked very different. First of all, you're going to see some 5-man fronts in this game. I would expect it, especially if you guys are able to run the ball. I think that he's not going to be afraid to put down 5 defensive linemen to help things out, which is unique, a little bit different for this style of defense. The other thing that I think that you're going to notice is that a lot of simulated pressures. When they drafted Nick Martin and Upton Stout and then paired them with 3 primarily run stopping big guys on the defensive line, that told me that they are looking for those guys to get pressure through blitzing. And that's exactly what they're going to try to do. So you're going to see the simulated pressures. You're going to see guys mugged up in the A gap. And then, one drops back, they both drop back, what have you. And then maybe somebody comes off the edge. And then what I saw too from him is a lot of guys standing up like on 3rd down. You'd have like 2 guys with their hands in the dirt, and then everybody else is standing up around the line of scrimmage, and then they would drop back into coverage and send pressures from different areas. So I don't think this is going to be the traditional base, just wide 9, line it up. We'll see how it goes. Let's get after the quarterback with 4 down defensive linemen. That is not the Robert Saleh that we're getting. And of course, he does still love to pair it with the cover 3, cover 4, cover 6. You're going to see a lot of that on the back end for sure. But how he gets there is very, very different than the way that he used to back when he was coordinating for the 49ers. I think 49er fans are in for a real treat. You're going to see a lot of fun things from Robert Saleh.
So he's also doing the switching of coverages pre to post snap, which would also have been
Mhm.
another thing that wasn't doing
Yep.
kind of prior. So that's another
A
built-in
lot of
function.
rolling of the coverage. Yep. Absolutely.
It's good to see. Yeah, because you saw it was a really marked difference between even last year to the year before with that with the Jets, where you look at blitzing, for instance, 31st in the NFL, draws it all the way up to I think he was 14th or so last year, somewhere in
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
neighborhood. So 13th, sorry. So he definitely like turned something on new, it seemed like. But then part of you also wonders, well, you're down in games and you're just trying to, you know, take some risks to get back into it on it. So you wonder, but so you don't sight unseen with the Jets. I'm not watching Jets football. You can't force
Yeah.
me to do that. I'll watch a
Yeah.
couple of highlights, but I can't be forced to watch whole tapes of games.
Listen, I didn't like watching Jets football, but you gotta kind of, all right, let's
I would
Robert
have
Saleh get a
Saleh,
break,
yeah. I would have
We
if
got
Saleh
Gus
came back.
Bradley there too. I mean, you know him very well. He's an assistant head coach on this team, so they've definitely got some minds, some of those Carroll minds within the building, but they've adapted well. They've adjusted
KJ
very
too,
well,
right?
and
Isn't KJ still
yeah,
there?
yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, linebacker coach. So, yeah, they've got a lot. They got a lot of that old Seahawks staff, but they've evolved very nicely. I expect to see that. I do have a question for you because we were talking about initially some of these rookies along the defensive line, and Brandon, I don't know what your key matchup is, and you can give that to me later. But the key matchup for me, or at least the thing that I'm most interested in seeing, is the 49ers defensive line versus the Seahawks offensive line, because I think both of them have so many question marks. Obviously, the 49ers pour a lot of assets into the defensive line, but a lot of those assets are very young. Nick Bosa is the one constant, but they also, they traded for Huff. So there's a lot invested in that defensive line per usual. But on the flip side, the Seahawks have a lot invested in that offensive line. And I remember last year, my bold prediction for the Seahawks when we did this behind enemy line show, but we did it during the offseason, before the season started, and just kind of got some NFC West predictions out of the way. And one of the things that I said Seattle's going to have a top 10 offensive line. Now, I was very wrong about that, but I think my thought process was in the right spot, knowing that they had poured so many assets into it. I do think coaching hurt them as well. I believe that they're much, much better coach going into this season. So I think that's helpful. But also, once again, you poured another first round asset into the offensive line. At some point, like this thing has to gel. So is it this year? Does it ever happen? Is it week one? I don't know. But to me, like that's where the game is won and lost is who can win that matchup because there's so many question marks on our defensive line. There's so many question marks on your offensive line, tons of talent on both ends. Who can win that matchup? I'm really intrigued by that. Like, what are your thoughts overall with that matchup? How confident are you in the offensive line? I know that it's a lot of trepidation there. I remember when I said last year, hey, they're going to finish top 10, you looked at me like I had three heads. So now I got to know, like, how confident are you in that unit?
Way more confident than I've ever been before. And I think
Okay.
that
All
I
right.
think if I haven't unpacked this a little bit, I think that we all do this where we look at this like a Madden game of what's this guy overall and then him and then give me a collection of five guys in the line that have good overall score and all the good offensive line and we don't take into account the play calling, the sequence of plays, setting up defenses, commitment to the run. I mean, we didn't know we were going to throw the ball 70% of the time last year with Grubb. And you didn't land at Grubb because you just thought he was the most unbelievably best candidate out there. You landed on him because of the late hour and hiring McDonald, who you had to wait on because he was in the conference championship. So you came back this year and you did not going for the guy at the end of the line. That's all that's left. Like, you've gone through a party in the buffet and all that's left are those, muffins nobody wants to eat. It's like, well, I guess we got to just, God, that's tough to get down. This year, we got to be at the front of the buffet, got to go find the really good coaching. And Kubiak, Jake was talking about last night about the Saints and like them being so good out the gate last year in those first few games. And he got that team great in the running game, great as an offense from the jump. And that's a Saints team that is not a stacked roster. That was guy Derek Carr that had like 7-8 games left. And he's been kind of with half foot out the door anyway for a long period of time. And the offense only went down when the whole offense got decimated by injuries. So I'm expecting with the preseason performance we've seen, with what we're hearing coming out of camp from him, that the part that I've underrated, and I think that it's just understandable that you do, is that coaching aspect and having guys in that are actually really good teachers and also have a scheme that fits really well. I don't know if you saw Mark Schlereth on a recent podcast, he was talking about this, but he had moments as an offensive lineman where you hit the defensive lineman and he'd run block on a pass play, not get down the field 4 or 5 yards, but there's the difference set between I get in my
Yeah.
pass set and I'm launching at you. And the defensive line said, you can't do that. That's cheating. You can't be doing that. He says, yeah, I can't. I did an effort. What are you going to do about it? And just, that's just a little subtle thing, but it's stuff like that that's built into this system. And you guys have had the benefits of it for years that makes it so hard pre to post snap to determine whether it's pass or run. I think last time a lot of people, including yourself, could look at our Hawk offense prior to the play and go, pass, pass, run, pass. And then there was no under center stuff. There was no rollout action. It was all very rudimentary college offense, basically. So now that comes into play, and now the talent is right. Zabel's been legitimate from the jump. Lucas last year was still not ready to go, and he's now fully ready. He's had a whole off season. He's as strong as he's ever been. He's practiced throughout all of training camp. No limitations. So is it perfect yet? Is it like it still would we like it better? Yeah, but it's light years ahead in a lot of different capacities from where it was, and that does give me a ton of confidence. Absolutely.
Good. Yeah, I'm just so curious in that, and again, I feel like I've had the Hawks as a team that's like gonna break out for 2 years, and then I was like, well, they kind of I have egg on my face the last 2 seasons based off of them not breaking out. Now they had 10 wins last year, but either way, they didn't make the playoffs, and so now I look at it, I was like, all right, I'm kind of off the Hawks bandwagon. Like at some point, like they just got to prove it to me. But as the offseason's gone along and we've seen some of this power run stuff, it's like, man, how do I not be at this point? There's the talent level is not the issue with this team. I don't care. Like there's so much talent, and you know what I think of Witherspoon. We're going to the defensive side of the ball now, but I'm like enamored with him as a player.
Oh
I
yeah.
said last week that to me he's a top 5 corner in the league. And I got a lot of pushback from my chat, but I think when people look at corners, they look at just pure coverage skills. And if I'm going pure coverage skills, no, he's not a top 5 corner. He's probably closer to top 15, top 20. But there's so much more to playing corner, and he's one of the best blitzing corners in the league. He's one of the best run stopping corners in the league. And to boot, he's very good in coverage as well. There's not many guys that can do it all. Sauce Gardner's a great example. We were talking Jets. Fantastic in coverage, but where there's nothing else that's a part of his game. He does none of the other things well. Witherspoon does it all, man. He absolutely does it all. And I just think there's so much talent on that side of the football as well. And I don't know. The talent is not the issue. I don't think coaching is going to be the issue anymore. It's just a matter of putting it together. And then, you know what I think of Sam Darnold. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that part goes. But to your point on the coaching, where's Shane Waldron right now? Who's he OC for right now?
Yeah.
How about Dickerson, the offensive line coach? Oh, okay. How about not them. Where's Grubb? How's he doing right now? Not looking particularly great back at Bama at the college level, right? So
Yeah.
it is a fan thing to be like, our coaches suck. That's the reason this thing. But this, I think there is some heat to this fire in that it is not just a sort of patsy for the situation. And what really happened here and what had been I'd lamenting when we first talked years ago was it was about putting resources into the position. When we first talked, it was like we had just finally drafted Cross and Lucas. That was the first starting off point of actually building an offensive line with actually valuable parts within it and actually putting first, second, third rounders on the board to that positional group where for years you went bare minimum and you just tried to get by with fifth and sixth rounders. And you could understand why it failed on top of the bad coaching on top of that. Now you got the talent in the house. And I think it's going to roll. I think it's going to roll really well. I do. How about your offensive line? We got Pooney coming back. Seems like he's good to go. You've got 57-year-old Trent Williams out there at left tackle. But he's been practicing hard throughout the offseason, recognizing last year on the training camp. I need training camp. Doesn't matter if I'm an older player. That whole thing isn't fly. I'm an older player. You don't really need those days. I could just chill. I'll come back game one. I'll be like nothing. But how is the rest of the line shaking out up against our Hawks here?
Well, the opposite, right? We just talked about all the assets that are poured into your offensive line. You guys have 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick. I mean, you guys put some assets in there. The 49ers are not that. You know, they've got Trent Williams, who's the obvious first-round pick. You've got Pooney, who is the third-round pick. And then outside of that, you got UDFAs and fifth-round picks. So, and that's what the backups look like as well. And at some point, you kind of get what you deserve a little bit. The 49ers also, shout out to my guy coach. He looked up the weights of all the offensive lines in football, and the 49ers have the 31st heaviest offensive line, which means they are a little light in the pants and they're not people movers. So it's interesting to see how Shanahan has his guys out there that have promoted and become head coaches or offensive coordinators, and all of them to a T are getting very different style offensive linemen than what he likes. And I think that that's them saying, hey, you know, the system can still work if you just have really good players. It doesn't matter their weight or their shuttle speed. We'll figure it out. But you also do need people movers. Sometimes you got to run duo. You got to run power. Right? You can't just do this outside zone all day long and trick people. Like you got to be able to protect your quarterback. So it is interesting. You know, a lot of people are very high on Ben Barch starting at left guard. Aaron Banks is no longer here. He got a massive payday from the Green Bay Packers, but they're excited based off of literally a game last year before he got hurt. I mean, this is not, we're talking about a player who's been in the league for many years, has done nothing, had a single good game, and then was hurt, again in training camp. Like, the excitement for Ben Barch is, I don't understand it. I'm not saying he can't be good or won't be good, but to just assume that he's going to slide in and be better than Aaron Banks, looking at Aaron Banks and saying, okay, he didn't live up to expectation is fair, but he wasn't an awful player. And then to look at Ben Barch and be like, well, you know, listen, you weren't a high draft pick, and then we're going to kind of overrate you based off this game, and then act as if there's no drop off between Banks and him or a possibility of a drop off is a little bit crazy. And then, you know, we've got Trent Williams, who's fantastic, but at some point it's not as good, and we're seeing a slow decline. He's still one of the best doing it for sure, but he's no longer the best. He was head and shoulders the best, and that is no longer the case. And he's basically been guaranteed to miss 2, 3, 4 games every year for the last 10 seasons. So I doubt that stops at 37 years old. And the replacement, who in Jalen Moore, is now with the Kansas City Chiefs. He got a big payday. And so they're moving Burford, who was a guard for him. A lot of people blame him for losing the Super Bowl because he had 2 free runners. He chose the wrong one, and Purdy had to get rid of the ball, which stopped him from scoring a touchdown and winning that Super Bowl. And now he's playing swing tackle. So that's your depth. it's not great. I mean, it's not great. And again, at some point, you gotta stop feeding us the BS as fans. We're getting excited over UDF players and 5th-round picks because that's all that we're getting. If you're starving and you're fed a cracker and it's steak flavored, like, yeah, you're gonna be excited. But if you eat every day, crackers aren't gonna cut it. You need a freaking steak from time to time. 49ers, get us a steak. Can we get a 1st-round offensive lineman for the love of God, please? So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
These crackers are making me thirsty. Little Seinfeld bit on that. What if you could, and I know this offseason was a bit different than the other off seasons, but I think it's been a multi-year kind of oddity from Shanahan, I would say, because I think that there are a lot of things that are done smartly in certain positional groups, but this offseason, you're burying down the money. You've only got so many places to address the holes you're now creating because you've peeled the money down so tight. That would maybe be an explanation. But in general terms with Shanahan, for a guy that wants to run the ball so heartily, and I know I probably asked you this before, but just in contemplation of it, why is this his blind spot in his rearview mirror seemingly a little bit? Because to me, your Niner team goes back 3 years and takes the hardy approach like my Hawks has done as far as hammering the offensive line, the success notwithstanding, but just the intention. You guys are in such a much better position right now as a team organizationally if you had gone that road.
Yeah, absolutely. He just has a type, and it's short arms and quick shuttle speeds, and unfortunately, that usually nets in guys that fall late in the draft or are UDFA's. It's just that that's just what it is for him for the most part. And so, I honestly, I couldn't tell you. This does seem to predate, everything. So it's just it's been in place forever. It just kind of is what it is. And I remember last year, Tom Brady was on, I think it was with Colin Cowherd, and he was talking about Super Bowl winning teams, what it takes to win. And he said, yes, you need the quarterback. I get all of that. But he goes, you show me a team that wins in the trenches on both sides, and I will show you a team that's going to be the playoffs every year and might go win a Super Bowl. He said the offensive line is the most important thing in football. I do not care. And, that's coming from the great Tom Brady. And then I looked at everything he said, and then I looked at the blueprint of what the 49ers prioritize, and I was like, well, that's the exact opposite. And you look at teams, the Eagles have been in a couple Super Bowls recently and won one, offensive line heavy. The Chiefs have lost 2 Super Bowls, bad offensive lines when they lost those. The ones that they've won, their offensive lines have been very good. And so you can win in other ways. The 49ers have been close. So it's not as if they haven't been on the precipice of breaking through. But I think long term, if you're going to win, to me, the 4 most important things in football is number one, you got to have the quarterback. That's number one. Number 2, you got to have the head coach. The 49ers feel like they've got that in place. You need to protect your quarterback so that he can stay healthy and feel confident. The 49ers don't have that in place, seemingly. And you've got to be able to get after the opposing team's quarterback and rattle him. And those are the 4 things. The 49ers go after the defensive line. That's not an issue. They've obviously spent a lot of money on their head coach and their quarterback. Why not protect the quarterback? And it's also, to be fair, last year it was not as bad as people make it out to be. I think offensive line play in the NFL is not good across the board. The 49er fans and as somebody who just covers the 49ers, of course, I'm going to nitpick everything wrong with them, but they weren't the worst. In pass protection, they were like 13th overall. It's not horrible, but it could certainly be better for sure. And it's just the way that it works with Shanahan, man.
Well, I think you're onto something too with the talent thing because I know our GM has mentioned it so many times it's gotten almost annoying a little bit. Well, there just isn't the talent there. It's not the talent, and I think there's a sort of simplistic way that certain coaches, GMs, front offices, teams take where they then go throw up their hands and they're just like, "F it, we're just going to pick through the parts of the back end and we'll just grab a bunch of those guys and we'll just hope like they're like throwing something up the wall, hope one of them sort of sticks eventually." And to me, it's just like no. Instead, you got to pivot like Tom did to your point on that, which is to say there is something behind putting value in this. And yeah, it's hard. And yeah, you got to put a lot into it. But like you say, when you look at the best lines across the league, they're not built up by secondhand parts. That's not UDFAs across the board. It's them putting those assets in the Eagles case, putting assets in ahead of time and actually having guys that you have sort of waiting in the wings a little bit to take over the heir apparent for guys like Kelsey with Jurgens and how they did that move there. So I would echo that. I've seen it in my organization too. I don't understand it. I get why with a little bit of the talent thing, but that just has me coming back to then don't pass up on one when you get a chance. Don't not jump for one when you can, especially if that's how your team's driven, because your team's so much driven by running the ball and those guys up front getting the work done too, as mine's supposed to be now. Versus the quarterback just being the superhero.
Well, and again, you look at LaFleur, you look at McVay, Kubiak now with Seattle. I mean, all of these guys are putting a lot of assets into that offensive line. I mean, they're pouring it in. Robert Saleh, he was doing it with the Jets. The two that aren't doing it are D'Amico, and I don't know what the hell's going on with the Texans. Why? I mean, they're just doing C.J. Stroud dirty. We think that Brock Purdy's getting done dirty with an offensive line. C.J. Stroud has got it rough because they have been like bottom two, bottom three offensive line the last couple of years, and seemingly got worse on paper. So we'll see how that plays out. And the Miami Dolphins, same thing. They're not pouring a lot of assets into it, and they're also not winning. So it's pretty clear that teams that put together power offensive lines and just pour assets into them, they usually tend to be pretty good. So I don't understand it, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. He's probably not changing anytime soon unless, something remarkably changes there that pushed him. Even our guy, he didn't change, Jesse, because like he saw the light. It's almost like dragged kicking and screaming 3 years
Yeah.
ago to eventually be like, all right, fine. Here's Charles Cross. All right, here's Abraham Lucas. Are you happy? It was a little bit of almost that energy going on where you're like, all right, yeah, we are. Thank you. That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Right now is a good time to thank the sponsor of our show. And indeed, both me and Jesse are sponsored by the same folks. So we've got a couple different, we're going to do a little ad read here. Not ad read, but we're going to do a little showing you guys a couple picks. We're each going to make 2 picks here. I'm going to make 2, or you'll make 2 picks now, or I'll make 2 picks now, and then somebody else make 2 picks at the end. So you can use 2 different codes. You can be using my code, Nest, if you want to be super awesome. You can use Nest with Sleeper. That's going to get you matched up to 100% of $100 on your initial deposit. Not too shabby. Get your pick'ems in there. Get the over, the under, all that good stuff. Now, if you want to be maybe a little bit less awesome, still awesome. Okay, you're still awesome, but it's minorly less. Okay, then you can use code LSS, which is of course Jesse's code here as well. Gets the same deal. Let's have a code off, folks. Niners Seahawks fans, let's have a code off. It's a dance off. Let's go.
It's a dance off. Yeah.
It's a dance off.
It's a walk off, Zoolander fans.
That's right. That's right. I can't turn left. I'm an ambi turner.
He's an ambi turner. Yeah.
But a big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring both of our channels here throughout this upcoming football season. We're really looking forward to working with them, giving you guys some great picks. And in the spirit of that, Jesse, see if we can get this thing to work. I'm on the mic. Jesse's on the phone here. So we're going to look for the first 2 picks. He's on the turntables, and we're looking at this Niners Seahawks game. We're going to make 4 picks in total. Give you our lock solid bets here. Who's starting this one off, Jess?
Let's go. Whose promo code's up right now? Who do we got? We got mine.
Yours
okay,
up.
I'll make my picks then. And then we'll switch over to your promo code.
Bet.
All right. I think, to me, we know that Kyle Shanahan loves to spam CMC. I mean, if he was a Madden player, fatigue would be turned off and he would just throw CMC in every single snap and be a part of every single play. So listen, I don't know if CMC is here for a long time this year, depending on injury, but he's certainly here for a good time. And I believe in week 1, we can go ahead and hammer the more on anytime TDs. He's going to get one for sure. Now, George Kittle, I'm gonna look through some of these here, okay? Because I gotta be careful. The touchdown game's tough. It's really tough for me. I need some yards here. Give me some yard options. God, could you imagine right here? We've got like Watkins anytime TD. That one would pay out real nice 5 times. Oof. Okay. I'm gonna go with Purdy here. We've got Purdy at 240.5. I do think this is going to be a low scoring game. I also, though, do believe that CMC's touchdown is going to come through the passing game. I don't know that Purdy's going to put up more than that 1 touchdown. But what I will say is I think he's going to throw for at least 250 here. And so 240 and a half, I'm going to go the more on that as well. Once again, for those of you, the 49er guys over there, promo code LSS. That'll get you a 100% deposit match of up to $100. Sleeper, you can do picks just like this. That's your fancy. You can tail us or you can fade us, whatever you want to do, but also fantasy football. I mean, if you're into the weekly picks, the daily picks, the yearly seasons, Sleeper's got it all. They're the best. Brandon, let's flip it over to your screen here and let's make some Seahawks picks, huh?
Let's get some Hawk picks in here now.
All right,
So
let's do it. So let me scroll up here and give you some options. JSN at 61.5 receiving yards. Cooper Kupp at 39.5. I got to be honest, I don't know how washed he is, but I feel like 39.5 is a little disrespectful. Am I off on this one? It's your picks. You do what you want to do. But.
no, especially for week one. If he wears down a little bit, but they're going to be using him this week, especially, I have to feel like Lenore's going to try to probably, if not travel with JSN, that he's going to probably be pretty close to JSN, which is going to leave Kupp. Now, look, I like Ricardo Green. You know that. So it's not that, but I just think that Kupp can, use a little bit of that veteran savvy on Green on a couple of throws. That one looks tasty to me. I'm thinking about that one. Let's look at Walker and let's go on the yardage on Walker. This is a little bit of the one we were looking at last night, but I like that one. 58.5 rushing yards for the game. I think he eclipses that.
That's a low number. I like that too. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I like that one. And then let's go here with this one. Actually, scroll on up. We're going to go with more than 15 yards for AJ Barner.
Oh, okay. I like this.
That's our starting tight end. Arroyo is the H back, right? So he's the flex guy. He ain't Kittle in this offense, technically speaking. So I'm going to go with those two picks. I feel pretty good. 15 yards that's like 2 catches. You know what I mean? He's going to get that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's enter this one in. We got an 8 timeser here. We're playing it safe, but listen, this is my account.
It's week one.
My money.
You got to play.
I'm going to play it safe.
Week one, don't go over the top, folks.
What's the promo? Oh, I'm using this. Guys, here's the other thing.
Here we go.
Here's what you're not seeing here is that you're going to get a free pick if you start an account using either one of our codes, either promo code NEST or promo code LSS. I didn't get it because I've already used all my free picks on other bets that I've made on other shows. But here's what I will say. Right now, you can get Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow over half a passing yard. That's your free play. So you can go more or less on adding them. That's your guaranteed free spot. And then you just have to add one more in. But I am going to use this profit boost because I like money. So
here we go.
We're going to go $5. Here we go. $53 on the line because of that 35% profit boost. So instead of $41, I got $53 for these more or lesses. So once again, we're going Purdy. We're very optimistic here, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but we're going Purdy more on 240.5 passing, Barner more on 15.5 receiving, Walker more on 58.5 rushing, and CMC just needs one anytime TD. There we go. And this is the other thing about Sleeper. If you have buyer's remorse, I got 4.5 minutes to cancel this baby. I'm not going to do it. We're going to let it ride. But
no, we're letting it ride. We're letting that thing ride. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I love the picks.
Yes,
I think we get you guys some money this week. And in Washington, it is going to get set to open up here, I'm being told, in October. So it's free and clear. I know in California.
Cali, you're good to go. California. Yeah.
California. Mm-hmm. They're good to go down there. But we got to wait a month out here because we got a little nanny stuff going on our side.
All right.
Couple donations here. Let's get going. And we got over 1,000 folks in the chat tonight. If you guys can do me a favor and hit that like button. Woo! Love it. Dangerous Dave in the house. What's up, Dangerous? I thought you were gonna hit one of your buttons there. You set me up on that. I thought I was getting a smart pad button.
Sorry, no, not yet.
Dave, thank you for the $2 donation. Says, love you, Brandon, but I'm a Niners fan, baby. Let's go. Hey, I get it, man. I get it, Dave. I do. And I think Dave's gonna be down. Is Dave coming down for the event? I know he's up in Montana, right? But
no, he actually moved to Tampa. He and I are going to do lunch on Saturday.
Ooh, so let's go.
Looking forward to seeing him. And he's going to be at the event week 5 49ers Rams. So looking forward to seeing him there as well.
Looking forward to it too, man. We are almost just a month away, Dave. So that's going to be a hell of an event, man. Hell of an event. I can't wait. I'm going to have to careful on the drinking with all those guys around there. You know how it's going to go. People are like, shots. Like, I got to just, no, come on. Ethan Tech World, thank you for the $2 dono. Appreciate you. Says behind enemy lines on my birthday. Let's go. Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday,
man.
man.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Appreciate you.
Give my applause up for that. Happy birthday, bro. Let's go. Thanks for checking it out, man. And indeed, this is something I actually just blatantly ripped off of Jesse a couple of years ago because he was doing it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm going to take that. Mine. And so it is an awesome, I think, thing that gives you guys that look behind the door because we all get our eyes, our bias eyes, our homer eyes. We're looking at things with just kind of that single view. And it's just an outsider's view. And not to mention the depth that guys like Jesse cover it, as well as knowing in Jesse that he's a guy that really is going to tell you like it is as far as he sees it. He ain't BSing you. He ain't biasing you. He ain't going to dress it up. He's going to take plenty of heat like I've taken from my fan base for being truthful and honest. And it's not about always being right. It's just that we're always going to be truthful and honest with you. So you know the take you're getting is on the line of that. And I never doubt that with you. Never have ever had to doubt that. And I really appreciate that in somebody that does what we do because I know how easy it is to not do that.
Yeah, listen, the easy path is to be positive. And it is tough kind of being on this side of things because you get that perception of like, negative and glass. I mean, I praise the 49ers all offseason for what they did. The rebuilding thing or retooling thing is exactly what they needed to do. And every show I would be positive about it, but I'd still get the comments like, you're just always so negative. It's like, dude, even when I'm positive, I'm negative. I don't know. Yeah. How do I win?
It's where you just come down. You just got to trust in what you're doing is going to be appreciated and people do. And I think both of our audience really do understand what we're trying to do with it and get that, when we are getting hyped up, like I'm getting hyped up my Hawks now, it ain't blind because I don't do that blindly. So it's coming from a place that's actually true. And then that's when you can really know, hey, maybe we're onto something here. Samira Zir, thank you for the $2 donation, says that behind enemy lines and an NFC heads up table. Let's have it go. Indeed. Yeah,
Samir, what's up, brother? Love you checking in for sure. Appreciate you.
And you can catch me and Jesse on a weekly basis, if you're not already aware, on the NFC West Roundtable. So every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are over there, separate channel. We always getting on over there. And next week, Jesse's going to be wearing a big old floppy Seahawks hat on the show. So you're going to
okay. So let's make this clear right now. Obviously, we have to wear the hat on the NFC West Roundtable, but we're doing behind enemy lines. This hat has to travel to our channels, does it not?
Yes. Okay. Wait. What do you mean by travels to our channels?
So what I'm saying is, let's say the 49ers lose, and I have to wear this putrid Seahawks hat. Not only do I have to wear it on the NFC West Roundtable, but I have to wear it one show during the week on my channel as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same
page. And the hat can't be thrown away. You have to now carry it with you as part of, here's the other part. It has to be carried with you. Can't do that. I'm going to throw it in the trash because then that's a way of like you undoing the thing. You can put it in the back of your garage. You can stick it in a place that's going to collect dust.
You got to keep it.
But you have to keep it. It's now a part of your life. Okay. You never have to wear it again unless we whip out the bed at some point, another down the line.
Yeah. Okay.
Double or nothing. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's now a part of you. So
I like this. I've done this quite a few times on my channel, Brandon, and I got to tell you, I'm undefeated. I've yet to wear, and the best thing is when you wear the hat or I wear the hat, you get to go to the other channel and clip that and then show it to your audience just to prove that the bet was paid. The guys on my channel love nothing more than to see other people wearing 49er hats. It's been great over the years. So I hope that I don't all of a sudden end up on the losing end here. It would be fitting that it would be against the Seahawks, the team that I despise the most in the NFL. But I don't think it's going to happen. I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
Found one today that was like a totem pole Seahawk that you put on your head like this, that it comes off the head. It's just, I think I know I've been going on with that. I'll do the cut, but that one was like, oh, I think we got a winner. I think we, ding, 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 ding. But I'll say this to you too. I've told you, I've never wore another NFL team's hat on my head, another NFL team's jersey on my body. So this is sacred grounds, like an Indian burial ground now that we're going to be desecrating with this. So folks, you're going to want to be tuning in next Tuesday. We got to see how quick we get the hat, but not next Tuesday, Tuesday after.
Yeah, well, it might have to be the following week because we've got to order this hat, and we're kind of at the mercy. But usually if shipping is decent, then we'll pay the expedited shipping. We're not cheap here. We're gonna try to pay
No,
up on our bet the week of, so we'll see how it goes.
we'll get it. We'll get it on that. But I sure hope we win. I don't wear that damn hat, man. I don't wear that hat. Cryptic84, thank you for the $5 donation. Do you think this rivalry will be a rivalry again, like Harbs and Carroll? Both teams starting to build young. Quarterbacks will be okay to good, potentially, etc.
Ooh, I think we have the teams to do it. I gotta be honest, Brandon. I'm a little disappointed in the 12s, man. That stadium just hasn't been rocking the last few years the way that it was. And then I saw today that it's expected to be 53% Niner fans. Now, listen, I know that Niner fans travel well. Don't get me wrong. I've experienced it in many a stadiums, but 53% in Seattle, that's not good, man. So this rivalry to me is only as good as the fan base makes it. And if the Seattle fan base is like giving up on letting their stadium be taken over, which would have never happened during that rivalry that he's speaking of, it can't ever be the same. So 12s, man, step up.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's not 53% of the total tickets. That's the non-season tickets. So those are
Okay.
53% of the general admission tickets that are sold, as I
So
understood
we're
it.
talking what about you still
It's still too
25% of the
much. It's
stadium,
still
it's
it's
a lot.
still it's still too much. But I think kind of what's happened here, and I think it happens in just about every stadium now, is that you have those automatic bots that buy those tickets when they come up for sale for the resale purposes. And the NFL's not all that interested in stopping that process because at the end of the day, the tickets are getting sold and that's what they want. So they don't care if it's
Mhm.
getting resold somewhere else. And I don't know if there's an as easy a way of overcoming that by just being motivated to want to go get the ticket because the bots basically are, designed to get in there essentially at the front of the line to get those tickets before the other people can with the general admission. We've got a
Mhm.
season ticket holder list right now to the point of that, but the general admission tickets come up for sale at a certain point and it's first comes first serve. It's not a list of whatever. They have to leave a certain amount on the general admission. But I also think you look across the NFL. There's when we take over Cardinal Stadium, we go there every time. It's kind of I think just part and parcel a little bit of what you're seeing. But I agree to you. It still sucks. I hate it. I'm not happy
Yeah,
about
I
it.
mean, I just know that it was like a house of horrors going and playing in there. I mean, we're talking about a specific time and place in the Harbs Carroll era. And these two teams, first of all, the way that they were built, heavy hitting on defense, that's what they did. They ran the ball and they hit hard, man. And they had a lot of great defensive players on both sides of the ball, tons of potential Hall of Famers. And so that's number one. That was different. But when we went to Seattle, it was hell. And it was like, oh, God, man, I don't get just chalk this one up as an L. So
Mm.
that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to match that again. It's only as good as the fan base makes it. And I will tell you, like I attended some of those games during that time frame. I I I hated going to that stadium. I mean, people were rude, they would throw things at you, and it's like, yeah, it sucked, but at the same time, like that was part of the rivalry. I don't feel like that exists right now, and that's gonna have to be a part of it if it's gonna be anything close to that run there.
I don't disagree with you. I've been in the stadium a few different times myself over the few years since we've left the LOB era. And, outside of fans taking over the stadium, which up until really last year wasn't as like it's been growing a little bit by a little bit, but it's as much as just that you have fans that aren't as engaged as they once were and understanding, that was the whole thing with us is that we realized back in the Kingdom days, we get loud, we can affect what's going on in the stadium and that we just keep carrying this on. And everybody wants to say it was, well, they're pumping in false music. Well, obviously weren't pumping in false music, were we? Because now the sound's gone down once the fan base is a little bit so that part's been kind of debunked, right? So it is a little bit of I don't have an explanation for it. The tickets part of it. Part of it is also the little bit of the wine and cheese crowd coming in there. And a little bit of like you don't have your working folks coming in just want, all in and ready to get loud, but instead their guys are want to just stuff their face the whole time. I don't want it's literally you'll be around and you'll see just watch these people just sitting there, just 400-pound people, just football games
I
going
don't
on.
eat when I go to games, man. I'm too into it. Like I'm not eating food. I'm
Oh,
not there
dude.
to eat food, man. I'm
I'm
there to
not
watch a game. Let's
I'm
go.
not either. And it's just and everybody else is standing up and you got like this section of the people that are saying like we can't be bothered. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. So I don't know if it could be a generational thing with this, and just this is the new norm and it's gone forever potentially in that way. I hope not. I think part of this has too been, Jesse, a bit of Carroll at the end, letting Carroll go, people unsure about what you have in McDonald. Certainly, I don't have to sell you on the fact that Geno wasn't an easy sell for the whole fan base coming on the heels of Russell Wilson. That wasn't a, hey, like for like, even though he did really well. A lot of the fan base was kind of, okay. So we'll see. But I do think your Niners did something good this offseason, and you might have to suffer a little bit of pain in the interim right now for this year, sitting on $100 million of dead money, which is that the good news on that, on the other side of it, is that once you clear those books away, once the Deebo Samuel stuff is off, you didn't put a Travarius Ward getting older on a new deal. You made some smart, tough decisions that helps you get turned back around. Not that you're going to have necessarily a dip, but that you're just now able to really not be impeded necessarily by the aging contracts or having a guy got paid who's not giving you the effort, or a guy that's got paid that is super injured, that you can be a little bit more aggressive, I think. Whereas they've been kind of, I think, not been able to do that as much. Is that right?
Yeah. I completely agree with you.
Thank you, Cryptic. Appreciate you, man. Alanis Michael Andrew. Thank you for the $10 donation, Alanis. He says, I think some of us are being way overconfident in Robert Saleh's return. Our starting defensive tackles are Elliott and Khalil Davis, who are question marks, and Davis often injured. Need to tamper down expectations.
Yeah, I think to me, and I appreciate the super chat, brother. I think that to me, these are two separate issues. Like, Saleh can't do it all. You're right. I mean, it's going to come down to talent, and this defense is going to be as good as the talent level allows it to be. However, Robert Saleh is a very good defensive coordinator. Like that, he is going to be at a much higher level than what they've had the last couple of years. So we know the scheme's going to be tight. We know that the players are going to be put in a position to be successful. We know that Robert Saleh is going to bring that juice on the sideline. Can the players execute? That's a whole different question. But I don't know that we're like overhyping Robert Saleh's return. Now, from a standpoint, I think what you're saying here is he alone can't get it done. That might be the overhype. But as far as what he brings to the table, no, I don't think we're overhyping that at all.
If you gave me a percentage basis on where this talent level is, comparing it to where the defense was at on the first Super Bowl appearance by the Niners, what is the percentage?
So that if that was at 100%, right?
Yeah,
Let's take that as the baseline. 65%. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's different for sure. It's different. Yeah.
Okay. Saleh's got a lot of work to do.
He does. He definitely does. But he's also a lot better coach now, right? He's a lot more seasoned now. He does a lot more things. I think the interesting thing is, as far as like assets poured into it, I feel like it's a lot of the same. But unfortunately for Saleh is right now, these are untapped potential players. And so this same group might be at a 80 or 90% next year. But as of now, because most of these guys haven't even taken a snap, I don't think I can go higher than like 65, maybe 70 if I'm being generous.
It's a great point at the end of this, because that's where we come to that talked about at the top of the show with the three rookies. You're going at the front and you're rocking that, and that the returns of that isn't really often instantaneous, but those guys do develop. And all three of those guys I can see in their own way and form, one maybe having that super high ceiling, one being maybe an out for call and just an upper level run stuff for minimum as a floor. He can come in, at least be that, and maybe give you some pass rush beyond that, and that you can see they give you something down the line. But to hope you get that immediately, and to hope with a couple of them having the injuries through training camp, like you'd said, that was so important, that's where it's just such a tough task just to get one of those guys. Have us last year with a Byron Murphy, who our own GM said is the best defensive player in the draft by his measure. But you had good 3 techs, you moved into 1 tech, and he had a decent year, but he's probably going to have a lot better year this year than what he did last year, having another year under his belt like this. And you're going to probably see a significantly more production from him because of it.
Well, we can look at a team within the division. The Rams, they drafted a ton of talent last year along that defensive line. Over the last 2 years, really, look at the difference between what they were week 1 versus that final playoff game. I mean, those guys were running roughshod after the quarterback. They were getting to the quarterback at a clip that they weren't even doing with Aaron Donald. Like, that's how good that they were as a unit. but it took time to build up. It took all the way up until like the final 2 weeks of the regular season and into the playoffs before they hit their stride. But once they hit their stride, it was very dangerous. It looked completely different. So we'll see how it plays out for the 49ers, but that's a possibility here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild to watch the Rams did, to your point with Donald, where Donald at the end, so much of their defense was built around stunting around him as like he was the planet that orbited everything around. And it's almost like they took the stunt lessons off of that and then applied it even after he left. But they had learned a lot of hard-line lessons on how to get these twists and just perfected. And it really makes them tough to deal with because they're not just coming after you and just beating you all the time 1-1. It's this, is he coming? Is this guy coming? Is that guy looping? It's hard to tell, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of ingenious. Mark Sanchez with the $5 donation. Thank you for that, Mark. Says, Jesse, if the Niners finish with 6 or less wins, do you think Kyle Shanahan will get replaced? And if yes, will it be a hire from within? I know way too early.
6 or less wins, yeah, he'll be out of here. I don't foresee that happening at all. But if it were to happen, no, I don't think it'll be within. I don't think Robert Saleh will be taking that job. I do think, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but the OC for the Bills, I'd look out for him.
Brady?
Yeah, Brady. There you go. Yes.
Yeah, even if it was injury, even if there was injuries that got him to 6.
I don't know how you sell 9 seasons, 5 of them losing, 5 of them not making the playoffs, 2 back-to-back 6 wins or less seasons. With a highly paid roster. Then you look into next year and just the writing on the wall is, well, in that case, you're most likely moving on from CMC and Trent Williams. So that's 2 high caliber players. And your season, you're playing against the AFC West and NFC East. Yeah, I don't think that bodes well for a winning season that year. So I think you'd have to move on.
You're thinking they would. Would you if it went that way?
I would 100%.
Okay.
100%. I'm sorry. I don't care how close you've gotten. When you have more losing seasons than winning seasons through 9 years, it's time to pull the plug.
Yeah. And there's just a general thinking, like you said, where the timing is right because we do have to kind of reset this anyway with some of the talent that's left and what we have to reinvigorate on the roster. And you get to that 10-year period as a coach in the NFL, man, that's kind of your lifespan. Some guys can get past it. Some guys do last longer, but it's really more often than not, most coaches by 10 years in have to kind of hit the reset button. Dangerous Dave, thank you for the $2 donation. He says it was pretzels, Brandon. That's right. These pretzels are making me thirsty. I've got to get that on my soundboard. Man. But classic Seinfeld quote. I don't know. I thought crackers. That's how I know your brain's getting old, dude. You start just melding everything together like that. Mixing things like cracker, potato, whatever.
It's all the same.
It's all the same. Thank you, though, Dave. I appreciate it. David, another $2 donation says, bonus topic, favorite movie quotes, end of show.
Oh, it's all from comedies. Like I have stupid comedy quotes. I probably say our heads are falling off 10 times a week. Like, just stupid comedy movie quotes all the time. Zoolander movie quotes, Dumb and Dumber. I'm all over the place.
A lot of old school too, did you touch my drum set, and just, the Catalina wine mixer. Somebody said they're going to wine mixer today. I was like, is it the Catalina wine mixer? They didn't get it. I was like, all right.
But, you mean Step Brothers? Step Brothers.
Not that. I said old school. I meant Step Brothers. Yeah, Step Brothers. That old school is a good one though too. Break the tank and fill it up again. Fill it up again. That's gonna be me down in LA, man. You're gonna have to keep me under control, bro.
Office Space is another one too. I quote the hell out of Office Space. Not gonna work here anymore anyway. The jump to conclusions, Matt. The whole thing.
I do that with NFL players' names all the time with the guy that's like going to get cut, and he's got some freaking Key and Peele nail. I'm like, nigga, not gonna be here anymore. He's gone. Thank you though, Dave. Appreciate you for the donations. Very kind, bro. John Naylor with a $5. Thanks, John. So it's good to see Jesse.
By the way,
great last name, John. And good to see Jesse on the Hawks nest. Stay strong, buddy. Go Hawks. By the way, we have a shot of rain up here on game day.
No, please. Please, no, not this time of year. It shouldn't happen. That adds a lot because Brock Purdy has not played well in the rain. He just hasn't.
No, he has not. His little baby hands can't hold on to the ball.
You know what's crazy about that though? He actually has bigger hands than Trey Lance, and his hand size is the same as Patrick Mahomes. Like he's small in stature, and so people think he just has these like picket hands, and he doesn't. Like he just, I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's the throwing motion where he grips the ball. I'm sure that plays into it, but it's not the hand size. He doesn't have an issue with his hand size. He doesn't need to go Kenny Two Gloves over here. But that's another Shanahan thing. When it's gonna rain, he doesn't practice with wet footballs. He doesn't dip them into buckets or spray them down. He in fact, he says he purposefully doesn't do it because he needs to get the flow of the offense going. It's like, well, yeah, that's great, but you're not going to be playing in that. So why wouldn't you practice it? Like that's a big deal. I don't know. Shanahan does the weirdest things sometimes.
I agree. I'm much more in favor of start to prepare yourself for it because you're so used to football with your just normal boom, 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 the way the ball feels, how you run around. So that to have something then that is different can knock you off your game, especially factoring in a lot of times with the rain, you get the wind. So it's the combination of how I'm going to throw my ball, what kind of throws I have to put a little bit of extra out in front because it's going to need a little bit to this side of it. And Russell, look, Wilson wasn't good in the wind, in the rain. His record in as much as he played here in Lumen was not good. And he's a guy who also had really big hands. Another guy that I know you might think somebody had really, really big hands, but for whatever reason, just wasn't particularly good, in the rain on it. I think some of this is also, if I have to say, the offense you're playing in from a passing offense perspective as well. And that when you're going to have the precision timing based quicker throws out, those have got to come out a little hotter. You can't sometimes layer those throws. You sometimes have to kind of put them in on a line, and that's harder than on the receiver sometimes to always reel in if it's a wet ball. Much less of getting pinpoint if you have to at the same time in the rain and the elements on that. But interesting.
Prime coming in with a good movie quote. He's take my strong hand, child.
Oh God, there's too many. Dave says, thank you for the $2 donation. He says, does Micah move the needle for Green Bay?
Yes,
Green?
of course. Yeah, that's an extra win minimum, probably 2 on their season. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Reggie White like is being talked about to that degree. But it is absolutely going to improve them from where they were because Lucas Van Ness wasn't developing for them as the other edge out there. And Gary's fine, but he's not enough in himself to kind of carry the day for you in what they're doing there. So yeah, I think that does help them out significantly on that defense as far as that pass rush goes. And, they go in that division and they've got to be considered the favorite now, don't they? I mean, would you, I forget who you said on our prediction show, but would you put him in as the basically the number one for the contender on the conference?
I don't know, man. The Packers, I didn't have them as a playoff team before that trade. So to me, the way that I saw it, and this is where it impacts the 49ers, is I believe the 49ers are going to be in a wild card bid. I think the Rams are going to win the division. And so because of that, they might be fighting with a team like Green Bay to make the playoffs. And that I think could be the difference maker in favor of Green Bay. So we'll see how it plays out. But I still think there's a lot of talent in that division. And I'm not sold on Love. I'm really not. The talent's clearly there. He makes some fun throws and some highlight plays, but I don't know how good he is or isn't. I think that a lot of people have crowned him, and it's way too early for that. So
I think LaFleur sometimes has him on training wheels, not in the way that he's restricting the play calling, but in the way that he's basically get the first reads what I will program you to have it be and go to it. And so much of what he's done success-wise has been predominantly off that first read. And that makes you go back to a guy that's, look, you sat for 3 years. Why aren't you more of into a progression reading kind of situation like Favre and Rodgers were by this point in time in their career a little bit? Why do they have to kind of simplify things seemingly down? I don't know if it's this way for sure. This is kind of your point on that I get a little bit of the same suspicions.
Yeah, for sure.
But thank you, Dave. I do think he moves the needle. I think 1 to 2 wins is probably about right on that with it. Samir, thank you for another $2 donation. Says D'Amico learned from KS.
Yeah, on the offensive line for sure. Samir, yeah, he did.
I am so mad, and we both like Stroud, but it's just you saw it last year, and I brought it up on the show, man, and it was just like stood out to me where people start just banging on Stroud, and it's like you watch one game, like the Jets game alone, you watch him, and he's just every snap, 2 seconds, there's a guy in his face.
His pressure rate, just to put this in context, right? There was the stat that came out, and we saw how much under duress Patrick Mahomes was in that Super Bowl, right? Against the Eagles. his pressure rate was the highest of his career for an individual game in that game. It's still less than what the pressure rate on CJ Stroud is on average every game that he plays. So in that one game, we saw how hard it was on Mahomes and what it did to him. It was still less than the average CJ Stroud game that has been played through to the course of 2 seasons. That's how bad it is for CJ Stroud. So
And the narrative is, what is Mahomes to do? He's just got no chance back there. I mean, there's nothing he could possibly absolutely do. But Stroud, it's like, does this guy suck now?
Yeah. Oh, and he made the playoffs in his first 2 years and won a playoff game under that duress. So I don't know, man.
No, he's good. Yeah, it's like, it's just get him the right offensive line, but they're setting him up. He's going to be in the medical tent a couple of times this year. And I hope not, but you were off on that thing. Laken Tomlinson, left guard. We've both been on that experience, and he's old now. We were on that experience when you got the prime Laken. We got the gray beard Laken now.
Pretty decent for us. Yeah.
Yeah. You got the like, both my knees hurt and I can't feel part of my back anymore, Laken Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Samir, thank you for the $2 donation. Says, please rank NFC West quarterback ones based on floor this year.
Oh, that changes everything.
That does change everything. That changes everything.
That changes everything because the traditional rankings for me is Stafford, Purdy, Murray, Darnold. But based on floor, Purdy's number 1. Like, I think there's just a baseline with Purdy. Stafford could injure his back, and his floor is just not playing. So, like, that's the way that I see it. I mean, yes, everybody can get injured, but he's going into the season with a back injury. Like, it wouldn't be crazy if he missed games because of that. So that's his floor. I mean, Stafford almost goes to last because of that, which is crazy. He goes from first to last for me. I would say I still think we've just seen more of Kyler Murray. I get he's super inconsistent, but he's just played a lot more football at a decent level at least. So I'd put him at 2, Darnold 3, and Stafford 4 if we're just going based off of the floor. Yeah.
I would probably be tending to agree with Jesse's generally on this rank. I would probably say, like with Stafford on the bottom, I think with Darnold, there's a lot of upside to potential there. But I think when we're talking about floor, it ain't about the upside. It's about what you absolutely have is the base bottom line. And indeed, those first 2 guys at the top, and Purdy last year, impressive in the respect of not everything was perfect now really as much for the first time, or not everything where you had playmakers every which way but loose to throw to, where it's now going to be a little harder on you. And now you really are going to have to grind down, knuckle down, and show your colors and what you are. And that's why you earned his contract. So, it's a guy I would agree with you on that. No disagreement there.
For sure. Well, listen, we've got about 17 minutes here. Let's fly through these supers and let's get a score prediction in, because obviously we've got a hat bet in. We know that you're taking the Seahawks, I'm taking the 49ers, but we got to know why, and we got to know the score.
Absolutely. Janeth Kumar, thank you for the $10 dono. Says, Jesse, my favorite and only Ducks and Niner fan. Cheers, brother.
Hey, there's a few of you guys in the chat. I'll let you know that right now, Jay. And so you're not the only one. My guy Sky, he'll pop in every once in a while. He's also a 49ers and a Ducks fan. So there's a few guys.
I don't know. I haven't run across many myself either, Janet. Yeah. So I think you're kind of onto something. Thank you for the $10 don't know. Feed me more Seahawks. Thanks for the $2. Says, come on, Jesse. We lost on a 5th tiebreaker. A 5th tiebreaker.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's why these games mean so much, because not only are you losing to a division opponent, but you're losing to an NFC opponent. And we know how these tiebreakers go. So, and especially in the 49ers' sake, they're not winning the strength of schedule. So that comes into play as well. You got a strength of schedule thing going on. So listen, this is a big game for the 49ers week 1. Make no mistakes about it.
Yeah, this carries a lot of weight, much more than you normally have in an opening season game. That's for sure. Frank to Motion. Thank you for the $2.
Tom Motion.
Frank Tom Motion. Sorry, man. I'm struggling to read today. It says, great show, gents. Jesse equals the GOAT. Well, absolutely.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I do confirm that. And I haven't said this at this point, but if you are on the Hawks Nest side of this, watching this channel, down in the description section, you can find a link that's directly going to take you to Jesse's channel, Last Second Sports. Click on over there. He's been kind enough to take his time out. He's a busy man. He's got children. He's trying to run this channel. He's taking time out of his day to come hang out with us here. So please do subscribe to him. Show him some love there over on the other side of it. And you want to watch him because he's going to let you know where the Niners are at. You don't have to wonder about somebody blowing smoke up your butt. You got somebody actually telling you the truth about what's going on, and he's looking as deeply as anybody into it. So please do show him that love on that side. I echo.
Yeah, and same thing over here. Yeah, I always say it, even if it's just to talk trash, if the 49ers win, like that's worth it in itself. So hit the link
Yeah.
in the description. Go subscribe to his channel as well.
We ain't quick with the ban button over here. We can take a little bit of the heat after loss. We know how this goes.
I
We know how
expect it,
goes.
man. If I make it through the week without getting just razzed by Seahawks fans, if the 49ers lose, I would be disappointed. So
It's just the nature of the nemesis. You know, this is how this rolls, man. So this is it's par for the course on that. Mo Maggot Yallin, thank you for the $5 donation. Says let's see some physicality. The league's missing the old school Steelers Ravens rivalry type games.
And that's what the 49ers and Seahawks were in the Harbaugh Carroll era, right?
It
That's what
was.
we were just talking about. So very much the same.
Kind of the last, right? Like we were, after that dipped out with Harbaugh at the end there really hasn't been anywhere in the league. Can you think of two teams that have that kind of same heat to them since then? Can you?
I don't think so. Not clear rival teams. No.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see it again though. It makes it much more interesting. And it just like, that was our Super Bowl in 2000. That was the true Super Bowl in 13. It wasn't us playing the Broncos, it was playing you guys.
For
For
sure.
So yeah, I hope we get him back to y'all, and hopefully this thing can kick back up again. That'd be awesome. SoCal Ram 88, thank you for the $2 donation. Says, hope the Hawks give the Niners a week 1 L. I like how you're thinking, man. I like how you're thinking. And I have to say, I agree with him 100% on this one, Jesse.
It ain't going to happen, SoCal, but nice try.
It'll be a good year for the Niners, just not this opening week, man. Janeth coming back with a double dip donation. Janeth, let me give my little applause button. Thank you for that, man. I really appreciate you for that kind of support. He says, let's make this hat thing a once a year annual tradition. Please like and support. Well, please do hit that like button if you're listening on either side of our channel. This helps both channels grow. It shows up on the algorithm, so it shows up on the searches. So either channel you're on, please do that. I appreciate you reminding me on that, Janet, and thank you for the monster $25 donation. Do you want to start stacking up Seahawks hats in your garage?
Listen. I make about 2 of these a year. So if we want this to be every year, you and I'm definitely down. That'll take one of the 2 slots, and I'll find the other one throughout the year.
Maybe on the next one we'll have to do for the first game. It'll be that you have to keep the backdrop of a choosing item into the backdrop for the whole rest of the year. We'll extend outside the hat next year. Just keep making it worse and worse, you know?
I don't know about
and
that.
eventually one of us is having to do a fireman
right.
calendar.
Oh,
like the fantasy guys.
Yeah. He's so good. That's actually really funny.
Yeah,
right,
dude.
I'm in.
Z-bots, and they're flipping through it during the whole show. We're not even going to talk about content. We're just going to show the calendar.
Brutal.
It would be hard, man. I love it, Janeth. I love how you're thinking. And one thing's for sure, I think I finally got the hat narrowed down today. And you could be sure of one thing. Jesse's absolutely positively going to hate it. He's going to hate it.
Hate it no matter what.
No matter what. But thank you, Janeth. I appreciate the don't know. Very kind of you. Dangerous Dave, thank you for the $2 donation. Did you just talk tough to a deaf guy? What was that from? Yeah.
Dead guy. What was that from?
I'm seeing it in my head too.
I don't know. That one escapes me.
I forget what it was. I know the movie's on the tip of my tongue, Dave. That's a great reference, though. I know what it is. It's a good scene too. Lost this one here. Another one with Dave. Thank you, Dave. You've been awesome today. Appreciate all the donos. Says, how the Seahawks ever beat the Niners? Have the Seahawks ever beat the Niners once? Ever?
I don't remember any of them. I got amnesia. I don't know. I think the 49ers are undefeated, actually.
I think we got the number a couple times. I think we fitted a few times in there. A couple. Just a couple, Dave. Michael Bicknell, thank you for the $5 donation. Michael says, Brandon, can you give us a Jerry impression of a post-game interview if Dallas beats Philly? Love both yours and Jesse's content. Oh, I absolutely can do this. Y'all thought I was silly. Y'all thought Jerry didn't know what he was doing no more. Huh? That what you thought? Thought I lost my mind? I was dimension ridden? That I was looking for glory holes? No, I was not looking for glory holes. I was looking for W's. Herschel Walker 2.0. Jerry Jones, you're welcome, Dallas. Thank you. Close the door. We're going to the championship this year.
He'll do it on his radio show, too. That's the best part about this.
He will. He will. Philly's going nowhere anymore. They're done. I'm done with Philly. They had their run. Now it's Cowboys time. Okay? Michael was dead weight. Dead weight on our back. Holding us down like an anchor.
Did you see his presser where he called him? He kept calling him Mike. Yeah, Michael. Mike, you
Michael.
just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Michael's not that good. Y'all think he's good. He don't play the run. All right. He pass rusher. He's a hell of a pass rusher now. He's a cowboy pass rusher, but he can't play the run. Yeah,
So disrespectful,
Jerry,
man.
he was so fun on this to cover us, just to be able to go, don't go to mommy, don't go to daddy. Then you come back to mommy and you say, mommy, daddy said I could do it. Like it just, and it was over the top, dude. It was Jerry over the top with it, where you're just like, dude, like, just shut up. Just shut up.
Chill, bro.
Just
chill.
shut up. But thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Jerry's going to be very jacked here if Dallas wins, and he's going to be beating his chest on that one. I told you. Head red. Strike, thank you for the $2 donation. Says sub to Jesse, even though I hate the 49ers. Laughing out loud. Well, that is a true testament to the love you got for my channel. Do that. I know how hard that was. But look, Jesse and me have been doing this for years. We're going to be doing this for hopefully years to come. And he does great work. So it's not an empty sub at that. That's something where you can get some value out of that. And it's always good to keep an eye on the enemy. Strike, you're awesome for doing that, man. I appreciate you. Dogzilla, thanks for the $2 donation. Says, will Darnold and Cup rock to Pearl Jam? Well, Cup was doing the flannel on the presser initially, I guess. So he was embracing it, out the gate. They're very kind of, Cup comes from the area, obviously, but Darnold feels a little bit like a Pacific Northwest quarterback,
He does.
Right?
Yeah.
He's
really
a little kissed by fire, and, he's got a little bit
he's fair skinned and he's ginger. So
yeah, exactly. It kind of fits. It does. You got to own it, wear it, wear it. But I think so. One thing's for sure, when you're watching the Pacific Northwest, is a Seahawks game, they're going to go to commercial. You're going to get one of Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, or Alice in Chains. It'll be one of those four every time they go to commercial. And sometimes they'll just do one band. Sometimes they'll just change it up. They'll keep it interesting there. Dangerous Dave, thank you for the $2 donation. He just echoes the sentiments of the others on this, and I agree with him. He says, like and sub, y'all. Please do. Hit that like button,
Appreciate
sub up.
you, Dave.
We got over, I think, 1,300 today in the chat here at one point. So please do hit that like button and sub up if you guys get a chance. We really, really do appreciate it. Thank you, Dave. You've been awesome today with all the support. AA Josh, thanks for the $5 donation. Says, my wild take. The entire division goes 10-7. Week 1 means everything. Boy, would it ever at that point. If everybody lands on the same thing.
Wow. I like that. That is a good take. That's very.
That'd go hard. That'd go hard as a division. Like nobody'd be able to fade us at all on that. They'd be like, you got to give them their props, man. Like AFC West can
all of them,
gargled the nuts at that point. AFC North, I don't think so.
They're not on that level. Yeah.
No, nobody's going 10-7 all the way down through that division. But
no,
I think it says something about our division, how good it is that you could see it being possible. That you're not just going, oh, that's no way that could. I mean, you could see things kind of breaking that way.
NFC North, I could see as well. I could see it in the NFC North.
I think partly what though allows us to do it versus the North is they've got that tougher schedule of outer conference opponents, I think, that they've got to roll through. So, or out of division opponents that they got to roll through in their set. Keep this rolling here. Dave, thank you for the $2 donation. He says, it was the new Starsky and Hutch. Punched your last ticket. That's right. So Ben Stiller tells the guy, punch your last ticket. Did you just?
Ben Stiller's got a lot of great quotes on a lot of movies, man.
Oh, he does. Nobody makes me bleed. Remember, I got this one.
My own blood. Nobody
makes me bleed my own blood.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. That's an underrated movie too. Thank you, Dave.
I just watched it with my kids the other day, actually.
Did they like it?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That's always cool when you get to see the kids watching something for the first time that you're like, oh, wait till they get to see this. PG's in the house wearing that great hat he won off the round table. Remember that? Yeah. Round table one there. Thank you, PGZ, for the $2. Says B-Dog and J-Dog. Hawks 2017. Well, we got a couple donuts, but let's do it right here.
Shout, we'll do it. PGZ, and we had a 49er fan donate on your channel, and we've had a Seahawks fan donate on my channel. So all love. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are great. Let's do it. So 2017, he says, let's hear your prediction. I want to hear this one.
So I'm going to go 2013. And
okay.
I think what happens in this game is that the running game it's a little bit similar to the second 49er game from last year. Where now, look, you guys were beat up in that game. Bosa was out by halfway through. The pass rush was much different from when Bosa walked out of that game. But I don't think that we're going to be throwing the ball as much as we've thrown recently playing your team. I think that they're going to be committed. Both teams are to run the ball, and that means the possessions are going to be reduced down in this game heavily. I mean, it's kind of wild when you sometimes think about passing teams and how sometimes they can extend games out multiple possessions versus if you have two teams committed to running the ball and what that can do to kind of condense games down and then make it all the more important for you to be, getting the job done on the drives you do have. But I think our third down success is going to be much more improved this year, and the running game is going to be much more improved. That's going to allow us the consistent drives to control the ball. And I just think this defense is legit, man. All 11 starters returning. We're talking about you guys missing this guy. No Greenlaw, no Hufanga, no Mustafa. All 11 of our guys return. 15 guys last year that started games for us returning. Nick Emilwari, who I had a Seattle Seahawks reporter telling me that he feels like this guy's going to be wearing a gold jacket someday. And this is not a guy that speaks like that about players. This is not a guy that speaks in that hyperbole about players, Jesse. I've never heard him ever talk about a player like that before, and speaking especially about a rookie like that. And I was right next to him, Stan, as he mentioned it. It was not like, well, you had to parse his words. Like, that's just what he flat out said. And then you got to Marcus Lawrence. You've added on top of it. So it is kind of loaded for bear, this defense. And I think the Niners are going to really feel that. I looked at a little bit of how McDonald ran it last time, and you talk about the simulated pressures. I think this is where we tear the page out, because you think with Brock, well, you just stack the box up, force him to the hot, bury down on the hot as soon as it's hit. But with what Seattle's going to do, what they did in that second matchup is they went light box, 4-man fronts, brought down the blitz post snap. So they're changing his eyes post snap to it, and then force him over to the hot route. And watching this game with what they do, and watching a lot of the tape last year with McDonald and what he was forcing quarterbacks to do in these situations, especially if you can get him to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, those longer, is he will force you into that hot route. And then he's got the multiple defenders come up to rally to make the tackle. Not one guy. He'll have the two guys with their eyes. They're sitting in zone, but you stop the tape and you're watching their eyes on the hot read before it's been thrown. The guy's leaking out. He's left free and clear, right? So nobody's covering him. So it looks everything to the quarterback like that guy's free and clear to go get the 7 or 8 yards. And you've got a blitz coming. So the clock's going like this in your brain. Oh my God. He blitzed at a 40% rate. And McDonald is usually a 20% rate game in and game out. He went 40% in that second matchup against the Niners last year. And I think that's going to give, I think, Purdy problems, because this is now the third time he's going to be able to play Purdy in that Rams game and a Ravens game from a year ago included. I think he's got kind of a good idea of how to, not that Purdy's not a good quarterback, just that he has a good understanding of kind of how to drive after him and take him on a little bit. How about you?
Yeah, I think everything that you said is very true. And I think McDonald is the most interesting coach matching up with Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle loves to use shifts and motions to give his quarterback a picture pre-snap, especially if he wants to run play action. It's tough to get your head around and then see that the picture is completely changed and make a quick decision. But McDonald is the most unique coach in this instance, where he almost wants you to do shifts and motions, because the picture changes instantly on that defense. And we've heard Ravens players and Seahawks players talk about this. The reason that I think that the Seahawks struggled to stop the 49ers the first time they played last year is there's a lot going on, a lot of communication, a lot of handing off, a lot of rolling coverages, a lot of showing things based off of those shifts and motions. And it takes a while to get used to those. The Ravens were locked in. By the time they played the 49ers, they showed Brock Purdy something he had never seen. Next time around, Brock Purdy was ready for it. The Seahawks weren't up to snuff yet. However, in that second game, you did see where it started to give some trouble to Brock Purdy and the 49ers. And so that does concern me. Like, he's the best at this. Like, he is the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay genius on the defensive side of the football. And he does some very creative things when you start to do shifts and motion. So that worries me. The defensive line, you're talking about your best pass rusher from 2 years ago is like your 4th best pass rusher now. It's absolutely crazy. He plays sparingly at this point. You have the horses to get it done. What I will say, though, is I believe that when Shanahan's at his best, they're going horizontal and not vertical. When Shanahan's at his best, he's creating mismatches through CMC, Kittle, Juice, not necessarily the wide receivers. And so I believe in this game, that's where he's going to attack. He's going to attack the middle of that defense. He's going to put defenders in conflict, especially those linebackers. And you're going to have to choose. Are you taking Kittle or are you taking CMC? And either way is not going to be good for you. And Brock Purdy is good enough to make those choices. And he does read coverages pretty damn well. Now he can be boneheaded sometimes. Don't get me wrong. He does get a little YOLO in his game, but I think between him and Shanahan, they can put together the game plan and get this done. I don't think it's high scoring. I think this is going to be a major defensive battle. I have it 17-16 49ers. I see a scenario where the Seahawks have the ball. They have a chance to win. All they need is a field goal, and Bosa gets a strip sack to end this thing. So that's the way I envision this thing going.
And if there's any kind of participation or precipitation, what would you same score?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be high scoring anyway. So yeah, I'll go with the same score.
There we go. I can certainly see it be the case, man. Absolutely, I can. This is going to probably be a tight game. It's going to probably be a barn burner. It's going to own Nelly. Got a barn burner today, folks. So it's going to come down the line probably, and it's going to hopefully just be a fun game. Opening week, good hard hitting physicality. Let's get after it and see where the chips land where they may at the end. Joseph Herrenberg, thank you for the $2 donation on Jesse's side. There says Jesse, stop being so negative. But Seahawks by less than 35.
The Seahawks aren't winning the game. So yes, by definition, yes.
There we go. I love the positivity. Samir with a $10 dono. Samir, thank you for all of your support on Jesse's channel here today. Very kind of you, brother. So circling back to let Kyle Shanahan go, do both of you believe that he is more likely or less likely to win a Super Bowl for his next hypothetical team? And should that influence the Niners' decisions?
Shouldn't influence the Niners' decisions. The Eagles let go of a very good head coach in Andy Reid and have won the Super Bowl twice. And Andy Reid's gone on and won the Super Bowl multiple times himself. I wrote an article 3-4 years ago on SI talking about this, that I always believe that Shanahan will win a Super Bowl and it will not be with the 49ers. And no, listen, if you're in a bad relationship and your girl's bad, you know she's going to find somebody else. And you just have to be okay with that. It doesn't mean that you can fix things. Like, your relationship's not good. You got to move on, and you got to be okay with her eventually moving on. It's just the way that it goes. So no, that can't impact your decision.
The legendary Bill Walsh, many would acknowledge in this community, both on both sides of the channel, one of the smartest all-time coaches, team builders out there. He himself told often, many other coaches around him, that he felt like coaches had a 10-year cycle. And you have about 10 years, and that you get that 10-year period, and there's a variety of things kind of maybe going on. Yeah, it's some that the team's not checked into listening to you as fervently. They've heard all the stories before. I think some of it is just that you have this machine you build, and you come in and initially you build it, and it's super efficient and clean, and it's just, man, not any extra parts, and then this went wrong, and we got to add this part onto it. Well, that went wrong, and now let's fix this with this. And then you get 5 years down the line, and you've got this amalgamation of a machine that started out efficient, and you just need a reset button back down to sort of the base prototype you had started with a little bit. We got a little over, things have gotten out of whack this way. The only way to kind of get it is to just get to that reset spot. Maybe Shanahan learns lessons, right? If this doesn't work with him here, maybe he goes to his next job and he's like, offensive line is awesome. I'm going to invest nothing but linemen in my next job, or ask for that.
Yeah.
It's hard to anticipate that type of stuff.
Well, and he probably would be very picky. He would probably go to a team that has an established quarterback and then build around that, and he talked about that. When he was asked about what did he learn most from his dad when he took this Niners job, he said how to not get fired. That was what he said. That's okay. So he was hesitant on taking the 49ers job because there wasn't a quarterback in place. So
yeah, I will say that's the way I could see him get the Super Bowl. He just goes to some place with some awesome quarterback, and he doesn't have to think about it.
Josh Allen,
Yeah, just doesn't have to. Yeah, it's like no fuss, no muss. All I got to do is just make my plan. I've got this awesome dude doing what he's doing. I could see it, dude. I could absolutely see it. And thank you, Samir, again, man, for all of your support today. Joseph coming in with the heat. He's got another $2 donation. He says, Niner fan, but Seahawks are miles above. 6-42 Seattle. Ooh, wee.
Come on.
I like that. I'm with you on that, Joseph. I got one thing to say to that. Hold on. I got one thing to say to that, Joseph.
Enough said.
Enough said. Enough said. Let's go. Firing in Dave. It's fitting. Finishing us off with, we got one more below him, but thank you, Dave. Another $2 donation. He's got his projection for us. He says, Niners got it. He's got him hanging 27 on the Seahawks D, or maybe a pick 6 from Darnold. Who knows? 27-19 Niners win, says Dave. Lyle fired during the Gatorade bath.
Oh my God. Jeez. Wow.
Reminds me of Herm Edwards as he's like leaving the field a couple of years ago, being fired as he's leaving the field. It's like,
Yeah.
can't wait. We can't wait one day on this one. Like you got it with all the cameras sitting there, watching you do it.
Fired.
All right. Cold-blooded. Dylan, thanks for the $5 donation and finishing us off nicely with a good, I like this donation. This is the right way to finish us off, Dylan. Thank you for that $5. Says, don't know for seeing Jesse lose his soul hearing about McDonald attacking Kyle Sheen's scheme. Seattle 17, San Francisco 3. San Francisco will have an opportunity for 9 points, but play for a touchdown.
Oh my gosh. If they score 3 points, I'm going to lose my mind. If a Shanahan offense puts up 3 points week 1, I fire him immediately right then and there. No way. That can't happen.
You're going to be either having to talk a lot of people down in your chat or, but even that I would.
I'm not the guy to talk you down. Go watch David Lombardi if you want somebody to talk you down or somebody else. I'm not that guy. Post game, I will be ripping them a new one. So no, I'm not. That's not me.
3 points. 3 points.
Yeah.
It's a hard watch. That is. I lied. We got one more dono here. Thank you, Joseph Jones, with a $2 donation. Says, I got a bad feeling about this game. PTSFD.
There we go.
Nice.
Nice.
I like that.
Right,
I like that.
That's
yeah,
good.
that's nice.
Well played.
Hey, they've had
Niners one of them.
They've largely had our number, and that week 1 matchup. Now that was also partly why you beat us up. Is that was the 3 games in 15 days. We're on the stretch of that a little bit, but look, there's been a lot of those games in recent years with the Niners we played, and Carroll at the end there especially couldn't solve Shanahan, and it's on us now. I don't care about being in last place last year. That was injury riddled team in a lot of ways. They're still very strong. This is going to be every bit a challenge for us end to end to win this game. It's very likely to come down to the wire. And they're a team that is, to me, as dangerous as ever. I mean, it does get me sober a little bit to hear Jesse say 65%. But I will say that. But hey, I think that they are still very talented and very capable in that record. It doesn't get easier in the sport, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you guys for all of the donations today. Really, really appreciate it. You guys are just amazing on that. One last quick shout out to the sponsor on both of our channels here, Sleeper. You can use code NEST, N-E-S-T, 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit, or LSS. That's Jesse's, as we are both hooked up here with Sleeper. We're going to be rocking with them all year, and we are going to be promoting them all year. So gave you the picks earlier in the show. Check those picks out. But thank you to Sleeper for sponsoring the show today. It's very much appreciated by both me and Jesse. Jesse, I really thank you for doing this. I know right now you got a lot on your plate and you're running around all over the place, but this was, despite not wanting to have to play Niners week 1, it's awesome to be able to do this with you week 1 on this kind of behind the enemy lines, because it sets the standard right, I think. And you do a great job, man. It's been great to see your success over there and just watching you kick butt and keep to your integrity and keep to your, guide and light on it. That's I know how hard that is to do on this, and nobody does on that, but you do it. And I really appreciate that you do it and are able to stay in that lane of things.
Absolutely, brother. Feeling is very mutual. You definitely helped the NFC West roundtable take off. Once we added you, it was like instantly the chemistry was there, and the channel is blowing up over there. We're doing some great things. The only roundtable sports channel other than the original to have an event. It speaks to the success of that, and you were a big part of that. So we've been doing this for years, man, and we get 2 of them. So we got 1 more. I can't wait for that one either.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. And a lot's going to happen between now and that final game of that week. Hopefully, we're at least still in it. Hopefully we're both still, around the playoff aspect of it, because that could make that a very interesting discussion at that time. Sure. Last donation, and we'll wrap it on this bronze sausage. Thank you for the $2 donation. Says, you guys are both awesome. Go Hawks 27-24. Well, I love that prediction. I hope that's right. I think Niner fans are feeling confident. Seahawks fans are feeling confident in the opening week 1 of the season, and that is just what you want to see. You want to feel good about your team in this way, and it's not empty confidence on either side. I think both these teams have a lot to be proud about, a lot to feel hopeful about. Any given Sunday, any given season, anything can happen, Jesse, but these teams have set the stage for hopeful success this upcoming year. I wish you the best of luck in your channel. I wish you guys the best of luck after this week, but you're going to be rocking that hat here soon. It's going to be audacious. Go, folks, check out NFCS Roundtable, because you're going to see him with the biggest frown you've ever seen on Jesse's life. Bigger the frown than he had in the second Super Bowl loss. It'll be worse than that.
Oh, it won't be that bad. I don't think. That was brutal.
Wait till it's on your head. Wait till it's on your head. We thank you for watching though today. And please do on either side, hit that like button, subscribe up on either way, get subscribed up to Jesse's side. The link is down in the description section on my channel. So just click that link, get subbed up to him. He's going to be back on this channel again. We're hooking up every week on the NFC West Roundtable. Thank you for doing the show, Jesse. I thank you guys all for watching. We will be back soon, but until next time, please don't you ever forget, go Hawks. No go Niners, huh? Come on.
I don't need to do that. I don't need to hype them up. They're going to
How
win
about
anyways.
Bang Bang Niner Gang, huh?
No.
Let's just go.
No. Those are for the fans that aren't real. We don't bang Niner Gang nothing around here.